I just tell the truth, and telling the truth is crazy in a world full of lies. If you mix brilliance with bravery, that we can ignite something. Even this conversation alone can ignite the people.
The time is now to express and for people to believe in themselves. The time is now for it to be okay to be great. People in this world shun people for being great, for being a bright color, for standing out. But the time is now to be okay to be the greatest you.
You know, years ago I asked the Secretary of State when he and I were working in the Senate to write something for him, and said, he wrote a line that I think is appropriate. He said, it's not we lead, not just, well, I won't go into it.
Hey guys, it's your girl Kelly, and we are back with another video. If you guys are new to the channel and you enjoy true crime stories, news, politics, and so much more, please hit that subscribe button, guys. Join me on the channel, and I would very much appreciate it. If you are a returning listener or subscriber, thank you so much for being a friend. As always, I really do appreciate y'all. If you would interact with the video, give it a like. Let me know what you think about the topic in the comments. Hit the bell. Whatever you can do. Any interaction really does help me out, guys. And I appreciate everyone for watching. So let's get into it, y'all. As you can see from the video, we have a shit show on our hands. As you can see from Biden, we also have an incompetent leader to lead us into this next stage of utter destruction and chaos. Okay, so nothing good can come of this, but yet here we are. So I wanted to come on here and talk to you guys about this insurrection that happened at the state capitol in Washington, D.C. And I continue to be utterly disturbed and completely alarmed and just really speechless at what is going on all throughout this country, all throughout the world, in the name of pro-Palestine demonstrations and trying to seem as if this is somehow a moral fight that is being fought here, somehow that this is not even in question as to who is in the right here and who's in the wrong when we're talking about war, okay? We're talking about destructive, violent war. But yet somehow, I have never seen people more animated. I have never seen the world in so much turmoil, I don't think, in my lifetime, as I have seen over the past week or couple weeks since this attack on Israel by Hamas. And I think it's absolutely disgusting, and I think that this is lighting a match to a fire that will not be able to be put out. I think that people are in for a very rude awakening eventually when this finally does all come to a head. And I'm disgusted by the fact that our government, our politicians are allowing it to go on. So I wanted to get into some of the footage and just talk about some of the hypocrisy. Obviously, I'm calling it an insurrection, just to be tongue-in-cheek about the disgraceful show of force that they used against January 6th protesters in light of all of that happened only a couple years ago, okay? People were outraged. People were calling for peaceful protesters to be arrested, okay? And I truly do feel like that we've gotten to the point where this is a bell that cannot be unrung, okay? We have crossed the line. We have gone past the point of no return, and there's going to be violence. There's going to be consequences for all of this turmoil that we are seeing in our streets all throughout the world. People fighting for causes that they know nothing about, that they don't really believe in, and that they've been brainwashed to believe is correct. So, to say that I'm alarmed is an understatement. But let's get into some of the footage. I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments and like the video, all of that. Let's get into it, y'all. So, first things first, I just wanted to read this status from Carl Benjamin on Twitter. And I think it was a really good, well thought out, put together piece. I think that this was overall an excellent statement. So, let's get into it. It's kind of long, but just bear with me. It's called Why I Think We Are Fucked. The West is experiencing an ongoing collapse of moral legitimacy. It has been for many years. Many of our elites use support for Israel as a proxy for an unambiguous moral good, preventing another Holocaust. Yeah. This is why our elites are generally leaping to near genocidal support of Israel over Palestine. However, support for Israel is actually not that unambiguous due to the power it exerts over Palestine, and this greatly complicates the moral equation. This would normally preclude a full-throated support for any cause, but in the special case of Israel, our elites are completely captured and, in a sense, view themselves, at least project the attitude of fighting the new Nazis and preventing another genocide. This full-throated support in favor of an ambiguous cause naturally creates a large constituency who recognize the inherent unfairness in only one side being properly represented in political discussion, especially when it appears that the people this constituency views itself as defending is facing an impending bloodbath. I would guess that this is radicalizing the Islamic world and shows us to be, in their view, morally backwards and worthy of fighting. More worthy, in fact, of fighting one another. The main problem this presents to the current West, American world order, is that it is predicated on consent. The West claims to desire a peaceful and stable world in which human rights are protected and nations may prosper as long as they respect certain rules. The implication that underpins the legitimacy of said rules is that they are fair and any party should be able to find adequate redress given any wrongs done to them. When it is demonstrated that the rule of human rights is actually a fiction that is used to keep the rest of the world quiet, then this system comes to an end. Get it? Which is what we're facing now. Okay? The erosion of this system has, of course, been happening for many years now. Various pretexts have been used many times to justify a breach of the doctrine of human rights, and this has been grudgingly accepted because of the benefits of the Western world order have outweighed the damage done by these exercises of power disguised as moral crusades. However, we have arrived at a position where, in fact, the United States has been economically attacking other states after deliberately and systematically attempting to erode their standing in the world based on our own perceived moral superiority. This has created a massive upset in the global economic order and forced the disparate opponents of the West into an economic coalition with one another, whilst massively weakening America's allies. The short-sightedness of this can surely not be overstated, as the plan to judo flip the various economies of the opposition to bring them to their knees simply hasn't worked. It has been decades for some of these regimes, and they still persist, and have been laying the groundwork for a parallel world economy. Needless to say, as the world's economic hegemon, the United States can't allow this to happen. However, it seems that it is happening and it probably cannot be stopped at this point. I think this is really why the political class is gripped with war fervor over a tiny terrorist-run strip of land. It isn't that there is an existential threat to Israel from Gaza. It is that we are looking at the potential to set off a chain of events that shows the West to not have the moral legitimacy it claims to have, which will unravel its own political alliances and put all of its enemies into a righteous coalition against us, while destroying the economic global system and throw everything into chaos. The West will need to fight, or the Western elites will lose everything. At this point, I think a world war is inevitable. The West's lack of moral legitimacy is seen in its own countries. A very large percentage of the population of almost all of them has severe doubts about the legitimacy of the governments and institutions of these countries because of the fifth columns that have been allowed to proliferate within our societies have done their work of making said governments and institutions unreliable, immoral, and degraded. The point of the left has been to weaken us from within by sowing moral discord, and they have done a very good job. They have, in fact, undermined our very claims to nationhood, family, and imperium. We do not view ourselves as the legitimate rulers of anything, and the major institutions of every country spend a large amount of their time attacking the majority population groups of that country. It is well known that Western militaries have serious trouble recruiting and that we are struggling economically. To say we are being very poorly governed is an understatement and a half, and everyone knows it. There is simply no passion to fight for a civilization that appears to be in collapse, appears to hate itself, and appears to be vindicative to other states on the world stage. Say what you like about Trump, but he actually seemed to be able to respect the nations ranged against the United States. This goes a long way. Now that time appears to have passed, it seems that in their desperate bid for moral legitimacy, the dominant faction of Western elites are at once going to drive us into a war, whilst the submersive faction of elites are going to stoke the fires of civil war in our own countries while we do it. Personally, I think we're in a position of profound weakness. It isn't that our enemies are strong, it is that we are vulnerable and we don't really know what we stand for or why we should do what we do. So we will use Israel as a proxy for the expansion of our power, and this will become an intolerable nightmare for our opponents. And they will probably decide that the best opportunity they will get to escape Western dominance has arrived. It is going to be painful, bloody, and ruinous. But if ever it could be done, now seems like the time. I do hope I am wrong. I mean, I could not have said it better myself. So, what do y'all think about those statements there from Carl Benjamin? Pretty alarming stuff. I mean, I hope to God he's wrong too. So, let's look at insurrectionist in chief herself, Rashida Tlaib, who should be arrested and thrown out of Congress and deported, in my opinion. Let's see what she had to say as she incites an insurrection and whips up the crowd to then go and storm the Capitol.
So hard sometimes just watching those videos, and the people telling the kids don't cry.
Girl,
Let them cry.
Holy, shut up.
And they're shaking, and some of you know this. They keep telling them not to cry. And
Girl, save it, bitch.
they can cry. I can cry. We all can cry.
No, please
if
don't cry.
we're not crying, something is wrong.
Please don't cry.
And so I'm telling you right now, President Biden,
Girl.
not all America's with you on this one. And you need to wake up and understand that. We are literally watching people commit genocide and killing a vast majority just like this. And we still stand by and say nothing. We will remember this. But all of you, you need to know. I swear to God, yes, Allah.
Hello?
You are on the right side of history.
Absolutely fucking not, bitch.
You
Go
are.
away.
You're doing everything possible to save lives.
I'm sorry. When are we gonna stop this? When are we going to stop allowing this country to be made a fool of? I mean, to have a congresswoman doing the whole, like, whatever, fucking Allah Akbar, whatever the fuck, I don't care. No. Deport. We need to be done with this. We need to be done because we are going to end up ruining this country forever. It's going to be done. It's almost done. We're literally almost there. We're knocking at death's doorstep if we don't do something. I mean, it's just ridiculous at this point. So, and I'm obviously being somewhat sarcastic here, you know, I'm being a little bit tongue-in-cheek because this is ridiculous to me. This is not actually the way that I feel. I don't feel that people should be censored by the government or otherwise. I don't feel that people shouldn't be allowed to have grievances, air them out, you know, protest, all of that. I think that that's part of what makes America once a great country, and I think we need to hold on to that. But at the same time, I look at the way that the January 6th protesters were treated. They were met with so much vitriol. They were met with so much fake outrage and just made to feel and were treated like shit, okay? They were thrown away like garbage. They were made to feel like their grievances and their right to protest was not legitimate. And I think that's horribly wrong, and I will forever stand on that point. So my thing of it is that even though I don't believe in the cause that was being protested on the Capitol just a few days ago, I don't take either side up. I don't take the side of Palestine. I don't take the side of Israel. I'm America first, forever. And I don't try to hide that. I don't try to pretend that it's anything other than that. I think that even though I don't regard either side, or I don't hold up either side, makes no difference on the fact that I do believe that they should, in a perfect world, be allowed to say what they want, protest what they want, and get those things out to the public. And the public should be able to decide how they feel. But because of how the January 6th protesters were met, because of how they were treated, because of how Trump supporters were treated, and made to feel like we were bad, we were crazy, we were terrorists, domestic terrorists, because we didn't agree with what the narrative was that was being pushed by the mainstream media, by the government. And now these people are having their own grievances. They're having their own disagreements with the mainstream. And they're not treated with the same amount of fervor that the January 6th protesters were, you know, met with. I think it's bullshit. And that is what I don't agree with. So I think in order to maybe possibly be able to have somewhat of a reset in that regard, I think that these protesters who, if you can call it, stormed the Capitol, should have the same consequences that the January 6th people were met with. And I hate to like say tit for tat, eye for an eye, but it just is what it is. Otherwise, it's going to grow and breed resentment that is not good for this country. So I do think that they need to have the same consequences, the same reaction, and then after that we can call it a wash and we can move forward, and everyone should be allowed to have their First Amendment rights in this country. But if you don't do that, if you don't walk it like you talk it and practice what you preach, it's gonna be bad. So like I said, this video was a little bit facetious in that regard, and I'm trying to and I'm playing things up a little bit. I don't really mean that these people are insurrectionists. I don't really think that they should be not allowed to speak on their cause. But I look at just a few years ago in January 6th, and I get enraged to see the hypocrisy and the double standard. And that's my problem. I mean, absolutely not.
We are following breaking news. Capitol police officers say roughly 300 people have just been arrested during these demonstrations at the U.S. Capitol.
Let's give them all 20-year sentences. How about that? I won't be happy until they all get multiple year sentences, okay? Then I might shut up about January 6th. Maybe.
This footage coming into CBS News moments ago. CBS News congressional correspondent Nicole Killian is...
And anyone here in this rotunda who is an illegal alien needs to be immediately sent to Guantanamo Bay or some shit. I don't know. Deported. They can have their choice. Gitmo or deportation. Whichever you prefer. Dealer's choice.
There and can help us understand, Nicole, what type of situation has been unfolding there at
look
the
at
Capitol,
this.
And how do things seem
What
now?
the fuck?
Yeah, well, just to be clear and to put this in perspective, this is something that is occurring in the Cannon House building, which is a little bit away from where we are. We are still here in the Capitol, but the Cannon building is one of several House office buildings that members use. We do understand a short time ago that
look at the fucking masks.
Has been closed.
What are these? What's up with these idiots? I'm sorry. We are in October 2023. Why are you people wearing masks? At this point, they need to be made illegal because they do this to conceal their identities. They do this as a means to cover their own identities because they know that they're wrong. They know they're not. People on the right side of history don't wear masks to conceal their identities, okay? I'm so sorry. Masks need to be illegal. This is what the stupid ass fake pandemic caused. You know, listen, I'm going to try to stay calm in this video because I was messing up my audio last video because I was screaming mad about this. This pisses me off to no ends to see this many people this activated over another country's struggle, okay? When our America is dying, people, we are losing the best thing that has ever existed on this planet, the freest nation, okay? At one point, we were great. At one point, this was an amazing, beautiful country. I mean, it still is. But there's rot. There is serious rot. And we have to root it out. And the fact that people aren't passionate about that fact in and of itself, the fact that people are not passionate about saving this country, about saving America, is disgusting to me. We have people demonstrating in our capital over another country. It's disgraceful. And it makes me mad. It pisses me off. It enrages me to no ends.
Down to visitors, and this group is a group of Jewish activists in support of Palestine.
Disgraceful.
As you can hear them chanting and seeing their signs calling for a ceasefire course, this comes at a moment of really high tensions in the region.
The definition of Westerners who are actively seeking out their own demise, okay? How idiotic. Jews who stand against Israel. I mean, this is how you know that the West is fucked. This is how you know that we're done for. Because you have this, okay? Absolutely. It's the same thing as, like, Americans calling for more immigration. It's the same thing as, like, Americans calling for, like, socialism. It's, I mean, you people must have, like, missing chromosomes. I don't get you people. What is wrong with these people?
Particularly after that strike on a hospital in Gaza just yesterday. This was a demonstration that started on the national...
And the Hamas scarves, the white and black ones, also illegal. We need to ban them. Absolutely not. They're a sign of hatred. Just the same way you cannot fly a Nazi flag in this country, you cannot display a Hamas headscarf. I'm sorry. Bye.
National Mall, and eventually made its way here to the Capitol with, as you can see, dozens, if not hundreds, of demonstrators who made it inside the rotunda of the Cannon office building. At this point, we understand there have been about 300 arrests, according to a law enforcement official, but this, of course, is still a developing situation.
And it's important for viewers to know, Nicole, as you've spelled out, that this demonstration was initially outside on the National Mall, going up Independence Avenue. It seems to have now ended there where, as you mentioned, the footage we're seeing from the Cannon House building. It appears, just from looking at some of the images online, and even members of Congress, some liberal members of Congress addressed this crowd earlier in saying that they are on the right side of history. It does speak to the kind of emotional climate around the war between Hamas and Israel and how it's spilling over here in the U.S. in the Capitol, but it's not unusual at the same time to also see various groups with various interests protesting peacefully in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, that's right. And there have been many instances where we have seen demonstrators not only come to some of these office buildings like what you're seeing in Cannon, but also even on the Senate side. And similarly, depending on the nature of that protest or act of civil disobedience, in many cases there have sometimes been arrests. But I would note, to your point about this coming at a very emotional time, really not just around the world, but as we have previously been discussing on this program as well.
Do all of these idiotic American women not understand that if they got what they were asking for here, they would be oppressed? They would be beaten by these Muslims who have no love for them, who have no respect for them. If they had it their way, these women would all be under the boot of Islam, okay? I'm sorry, like, just sheer stupidity. And then they tried to say, liberal women try to say that, like, conservative women actively vote against our own interests, which is absolutely retarded and just objectively false. I mean, this is the definition of like, speaking out against your own interests. Like, it's just, I mean, it's got to be retardation, or I don't even know what.
It's also happening in the midst of this speaker fight here at the Capitol. Now, right now, the House is not in session. They're on recess as they try to figure out a path forward on a speaker. But, of course, tensions remain very high over that as well. Most members have kind of gone their separate ways here. So this all unfolding in the midst of the potential election of a House speaker. But just worth noting because, members are, many of them have offices there in the Cannon House office building and might have been making their way back to their offices or, leaving their offices. But obviously, this has kind of upended things as far as, potential members' plans, which is why we saw that advisory go out to really trying to get this situation under control by trying to close down the Cannon office building to outside visitors and traffic.
Yeah, and we should be clear that as far as early reports from Capitol Police, they're reporting a number of arrests. There are no reports of violence or unrest. And from the footage that we're watching, there appear to be police or security officials kind of standing by and around this group, allowing them to continue their demonstration. Give us a better sense of how police are responding to this on Capitol Hill.
Yeah, well, we know, again, that the alerts have kind of gone out here at the Capitol, again, particularly just notifying members that there is a civil disobedience or acts of civil disobedience.
Look at this guy. Hello? He's got a horn in the Capitol. Can we get the FBI involved? Oh, look, y'all remember this guy? Remember this guy right here? Look at the smile on that face. I mean, what a happy-go-lucky character this is. All he did was steal Nancy Pelosi's lectern, okay? What's the harm in that? Okay? He's not doing any weird chanting or, you know, calling out to any Allah or anybody else, other such nonsense. Okay, he's got a patriotic attire on. He's got an American flag scarf or something. I mean, it's just, look at the smile. Friendly guy. What's not to love? And then juxtapose this guy with this odd-looking man here, whose twiggy arms need to possibly be broken to get him out of there. I don't know.
We have an insurrection happening in the Cannon building. This is the march outside, the Pro-Palestinian march going on outside. And then we have this happening inside of our building.
Yeah, insurrection, I'd say.
I'm going to take you guys down so you can see what's happening on the 3rd floor.
Absolutely not.
Literally, they've come in and taken over.
Insurrection! Where's the tear gas for these people? The January 6th protesters were tear gassed.
This is where the press does all their hits. Of course, they know what they're doing. They always know what they're doing.
Disgusting. And you know, this caption right here really does say it all. My thoughts exactly right here. Pretty sure when peaceful protesters did this on January 6th, it was classified as an insurrection. And those people were protesting for their own country, not a foreign country. And anybody watching this video who wants to say that January 6th wasn't peaceful, there were people who were doing violence, go shove it up your ass. Because you know what? There were feds who were in that crowd who were provoking people. There were people who were, you know, got a little out of hand because of the provocation coming from the police. I'm talking about the Capitol Police, who were throwing tear gas and smoke bombs into the crowds of January 6th protesters. Okay, it was a peaceful protest. People were removing barriers. People were doing things to provoke people. People were doing things with bullhorns to try to coax people to come into the Capitol building. So I don't want to hear it. I just don't want to hear it. This happened all on their own, okay? There might have been some feds in this crowd. I'll give it to you. I don't know. That's yet to come out. But these people should be treated with the exact same amount of hate and vitriol that American patriots were treated who participated on January 6th, okay? Disgusting. Oh, really? Cori Bush, what we're not going to do is call yesterday's courageous and nonviolent anti-war, pro-peace demonstration an insurrection. This was good, trouble, civil disobedience. And let's be clear, January 6th was not civil disobedience. It was an insurrection. Ma'am, I know that you have a big fat ass mouth, but, you know, stop talking out of both sides, but please for 1 second before you make me sick to my stomach, literally. I mean, this is another one we can just deport. I don't even care if we're deporting Americans. At this point, if you care more about a foreign country and you're an American citizen, you can get deported too. Okay? Let's start doing that. I don't even care anymore. These people don't care about shit. They don't care about our country. They don't care about the Constitution. They don't care about hypocrisy, right versus wrong. Nothing. They care about nothing. So why should we? This is where it's leading. I mean, and I hate to say that. I really do. Because I think that it's only a select few people who are stoking all of this. But we have some very sheep-minded people who exist in this country and all over the world that just follow, okay? They don't think for themselves critically. Hey guys, I'm editing right here, and I just wanted to come on here and say that I obviously have had some time to cool down after recording this video, and I just want to express that there was a lot of emotion in everyone's reaction to the events leading up to this, and obviously this event happening right here. I don't want these people to be met with any hate. I don't want these people to be treated badly in this country. I do think that there should be absolute consequences for their actions, and those consequences should be equal to the January 6th consequences. I do believe that 100%. Just because we need a reset, and that's the only way I feel like it's going to happen, because they were basically equivalent, in my opinion. You can say that you don't think that the causes are equivalent, whatever. The events to me, were basically equivalent. There were people who entered the Capitol and stayed there. There were people outside, large, like massive amounts of people outside for both events. And so, yeah, treat them equally. That's all I have to say. And in some cases, I mean, in some regard, I actually am on the side of the people who would want to see a ceasefire. I get that Israel has the right to protect itself. It has the right to react to whatever happens to them. But I don't want war. So, I don't think that Israel should just be allowed to just go full force against Palestinians and wipe out Gaza. I don't think that in any way. I think that that's ridiculous, people calling for that. But make the reaction be at least somewhat equivalent to what they did to you, and that should be decided upon within the government, within the military, not by civilians who are just calling for violence to happen, who are just bloodthirsty individuals. I want to be kept out of it. Whatever y'all decide to do, military men in the process of violent war, I just want to be, y'all do that and don't let us know what you're doing, okay? Figure it out. But I'm just saying, they should have that right. They should be able to protect themselves. But it shouldn't be this call to wipe another party out. And this is about right. How you can tell if it's a coup or an insurrection versus a peaceful protest? Well, just check the color chart, okay, guys? Just check it. So apparently hundreds were arrested Wednesday after the protests broke out for the pro-Palestine, pro-Hamas demonstration on the Capitol. And if any of these people get their charges dropped, which more than likely is what will happen, quietly, I'm sure however many hundreds of people who were arrested will quietly have their charges dismissed and will not be given another thought. And I'm sure there will all be local charges, not federal, like that were given out to January 6 protesters. And I tell you what, I mean, if that happens, these people are just, I mean, it's a rude awakening is coming. A rude fucking awakening is coming, and I just don't even know what to say about it. I'm not going to say anything about it, because I disavow all violence at all costs. You all know this. I know this. But not everyone is like us. Not everyone is like me. Not everyone's like you. People think differently. People think very abstractly. Some people don't think at all. So, I don't know. I can't account for those people. Ayanna Pressley has called for solidarity with the insurrectionists. So all these congresswomen really just need to be expelled and deported. Like I said, deportation can happen now for citizens too. I put a stamp on it. I agree. And let me know if you guys agree with it, okay? So this is a fascinating development right here. Speaking of insurrections and people planning things and, doing all kinds of coup-like behavior, okay? During today's Capitol protest, Marjorie Taylor Greene allegedly took a picture of a protester's phone. The group chat named Global Intifada features the name Katrina Bleckley. Maybe a coincidence, but a pro-Palestine lead attorney at the SPLC shares the same name. So, what does Global Intifada mean, ma'am? Hello? Is that some sort of insurrection talk? Is this some sort of, planning we see going on here? Seems like conspiracy. I don't know. Can we get the FBI in here? Katrina, you got some explaining to do. And you should probably seek out a treadmill and a hairbrush because, yikes. Okay. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. She, her in the bio. Immediately no. New Orleans, Louisiana. Immediately no. Get the fuck out of my state. I mean, if we don't see the full force of the government come down on these people, and I would never call for that. And, I really even paused to say that because, that's the last thing I want to see. But I'm just disgusted. I'm so disgusted. And I just really am so done because I, don't even know what to say anymore. And I just think that, mass deportation is the answer because, no, I don't want to see the DOJ and the FBI weaponized. That is the last thing. I'm trying to cool myself down. I'm trying to be calm. I'm not trying to call for things that I would never normally call for because that's the last thing that I want to see is our government step its ugly ass face into anything else that it's already got its thumb into, okay? But all these people gotta go. I'm sorry, they just do. Okay? If they're out here doing shit like this, they should be arrested. They're criminals. They're treasonous. Let's deport anybody who is illegal. And let's deport the ones that are legal that love that country more than they love our country. Because why are you here? Why are you here? That shouldn't be controversial. I'm sorry. Oh, look at this. This was at the U.S. Capitol today, but mainstream media has yet to report it. I remember they kept claiming that a noose is built for Mike Pence for weeks. This is real domestic terrorism. Look at this lady right here. Is this real? What? Hello? Hello? Excusez-moi? War criminal? I mean, I agree. I agree with both. Actually, both. I do agree, ma'am, but you're a little out of line, okay? And you look illegal. You look like you need to be deported, okay? But I mean, this right here is just about right. I do have to say that those signs are kind of accurate. But still, regardless, you're not a citizen. You need to shut the fuck up and go away from me with this. Absolutely not. So, and just to again bring attention to and call out the disgusting. I mean, hypocrisy is like, I don't even feel like is the right word. I feel like just their blatant lack of regard for the law. Their absolute and utter, like, disdain for the Constitution and for people who don't agree with them. The DOJ appeal seeks longer prison sentences for Proud Boys convicted over January 6th. Proud Boys who were convicted of 22 years, 15 years, 17 years, 18 years. The DOJ is appealing now to make those sentences longer for the peaceful January 6th protest that they called an insurrection that was not an insurrection. I am disgusted, okay? And I want to show you guys one last thing. What do y'all think of it, guys? Are y'all as disgusted as I am? Are y'all as truly blown away at the Americans who care more for a foreign country than they do our own? Because I'm just about done with it. The last thing we'll look at is this group of utter retards, okay? Up here, this one, the main retard in chief in his damn turtleneck, zipped all the way up to his double chin. And I'll show you his real, like the real scary picture and why the fuck his chin looked the way that it did, sitting up here talking to these reporters. Completely owned puppet, empty suit, looking head ass. Let's see what he had to say on Air Force One.
Upset about the hospital and don't necessarily believe you or the Israelis that they didn't have anything to do with it. Do you have a message to the people in the streets right now?
Well, I can understand why in this circumstance they wouldn't believe. I can understand that. But I would not, you notice I don't say things like that unless I have faith in the source from which I've gotten them. Our Defense Department says it's highly unlikely that it was Israelis, but if a different footprint, and they've intercepted some, anyway. So that's why, if you notice, I didn't say it first. I wanted to make sure that I knew. And look, and I'm not suggesting that Hamas deliberately did it either. It's that old thing, gotta learn how to shoot straight. And it's not the first time Hamas has launched something that didn't function very well. So I don't know all the detail, but I do know the people at the Defense Department who I respect, and the intelligence community that I respect. It's highly improbable that Israel did that.
But I am telling you right now, that mother back there is not real.
What's up with your chin, sir? And, ma'am, Karen, why are you so sweaty? Why don't you dab a cloth on that face, girl? You're looking a little moist, okay? So, yeah, what do y'all think, guys? I am absolutely blown away. And, I mean, look into the face of Joe Biden and his weird-ass, titty-looking, I don't even, what is this? What is this chin, okay? If this picture right here does not prove to you that the devil is alive, okay? and that he's after us. I don't know what will do it for you. But this chin right here tells me that, you know, I need to watch my back, okay? And that bad things are happening. Because what the fuck, sir? So, I don't know what's going on with this, but there it is. Anyways, what do y'all think, guys? Because I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted with these people. I really am. Tighten up the borders. Let's rein it in, okay? Let's work on us. And let's get this thing back going. Let's get it back popping, okay? Because we're a mess. We need to make President Trump king, okay? If you guys haven't seen, go check my Twitter. I definitely have a change.org petition on my Twitter pinned that is, you know, a call to make President Trump king. You know, it's not going to be like a monarchy where he passes it on to Don Jr. and all that. No, it's just for the rest of his life. He'll be king, and we're good. You know, we can hopefully have a little bit of peace in this godforsaken nation. But, I mean, it's halfway a joke, but it kind of is real. But, you know, y'all let me know. Y'all let me know. Sign the petition if you want. It's funny. It's a bit, you know. Anywho, y'all let me know what's going on with this chin, please. Somebody, anybody. I mean, if this doesn't frighten you, you need to seek God immediately. Because Joe Biden's chin is parting like the Red Sea, and I'm terrified. So, anyways, y'all like the video, guys. Please, if you liked it, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Subscribe to the channel if you liked this video, and I thank you so much for watching. Until then, and the next time, y'all take it easy. I'll see y'all later. Bye.
I just tell the truth, and telling the truth is crazy in a world full of lies. If you mix brilliance with bravery, that we can ignite something. Even this conversation alone can ignite the people.
The time is now to express and for people to believe in themselves. The time is now for it to be okay to be great. People in this world shun people for being great, for being a bright color, for standing out. But the time is now to be okay to be the greatest you.